Metallica. The name alone is enough to stir up memories of thunderous riffs, iconic albums, and a legacy that has defined the world of heavy metal. But behind the music, there's a story filled with triumph, tragedy, everything between. Today, we'll dive deep into the history of Metallica, their discography, band changes, trauma, and the legendary people who helped them become the global icons they are today.
Hey, real quick, I'm already pulling out Alex's Rolodex. Is Metallica considered heavy metal?
Are they considered heavy metal?
No.
Yep.
They're considered thrash metal.
Yeah, Jake, I'm gonna go with Jake on that one. They pretty much popularized thrash metal as a subgenre.
At the time, there was no thrash metal, so yeah.
There also wasn't death metal. So I mean, like, heavy metal is a good term because you think of bands around that time.
Yeah.
There's Motorhead, Judas Priest, Thin Lizzy, all bands you'd call it heavy metal, and then Metallica, sound-wise, like compared to like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, they're not that different. So I still think they go into that heavy metal sphere for that time.
Okay, so yeah, heavy metal, but in terms of today's, it'd be thrash metal.
It's thrashing.
Okay, and that kind of talks about this in the next segment. At the beginning, Metallica was formed in 1981 by drummer Lars Ulrich, guitarist, vocalist James Hetfield in L.A. It was a small project, but quickly the band began to make waves in the underground metal scene, thanks to their speed, precision, and raw aggression. So they were a different band at the time. Obviously, you had heavy metal, but this was getting into more of the speed metal stuff.
I gotta admit,
funny thing is, Lars and James found each other in a newspaper ad.
No shit.
That's interesting.
It's like Craigslist today or some shit.
I watched an interview with Joe Rogan, and he literally said that, like, that is so funny to me. And they covered Motorhead songs when they first started, and other songs, various songs.
Y'all think when a record label first started them, they're like, sign these guys.
Okay, so
I don't even know what the original record label was called, because they have their own Blackened Records.
Right.
I don't know if it was Electra, but I think that was
Cigar. Blackened
covered
Liquor.
the second and third album.
I remember when Jay drank that blackened beer,
records.
dude. He was like, hell nah.
That's like their own. They also have their own vinyl pressing company too.
Jake, you did not like that.
All blackened now.
When we went to the concert, you had that beer, Jake. You did not like that beer.
No, I did not.
He's not a big IPA
I'm not
guy.
too fond of IPAs. I mean, I am now, but at the time I was not.
It's a skill issue.
Skill issue. So, go ahead, Alex. Sorry, go ahead.
And it just depends. Like, if you started with those, you get used to them quick.
Okay, here.
Yeah, I've always been a light beer guy, and slowly then went to regular beer, then slowly went to IPAs.
Yeah. Okay, moving on here. Was Cliff Burton okay, so Cliff Burton, Dave Mustaine were in there at the same time, right? So they recorded their 1983 Kill Them All. Okay, here's what I'm not sure about, okay? Did they fire Dave Mustaine right before the album? Because I'd have to pull up the album, the songs, but I know Mustaine wrote like 3 or 4 of those songs out of like, I think
wrote
like
most
8.
of the song riffs, and he also wrote a lot of songs in Ride the Lightning. Fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
There's a reason why there's a reason why people say wrote them all.
Yeah, Dave wrote them all.
Dave Mustaine wrote them all.
Kill them all, yeah. Yeah.
He wrote pretty much almost all the riffs and like songs for like Kill 'Em All, and like a fraction of them in Ride the Lightning.
Right.
But he was fired.
He wasn't fired. He punched James Hetfield in the face.
Yeah,
Fun
that'll
fact.
do it.
Well,
I mean, he wasn't.
He had like alcohol, and he was real bad off the crack, I heard.
Interesting.
He was just really violent, from what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think he had like a lot of anger and a lot of stuff like that going on. But
his music now is, "I'm not a big fan of the government." That's pretty much his music today.
It's been that way since like '92.
Yeah.
Right.
So, sorry, I'm just trying to. You
Like it.
would know if you were on John and I's end. I'm trying to see
Technicals.
you guys on the camera, but I'm also trying to see the script too. Okay, so
You don't
Okay.
need to see my ugly face.
so
You've
started
seen it enough.
started with Ron McGovney. Okay, so Ron McGovney was their original bassist, and he was replaced by Cliff Burton in 1983. Now, people say I don't know much about Ron McGovney or what he wrote or his work as far as the band goes, but I do know Cliff is considered by many to be the greatest Metallica member of all. Like he was a true virtuoso in Metallica. And I'm not saying the other ones weren't skilled, but just the way he played bass, I mean, it is very unconventional. And stuff like anesthesia, pulling teeth,
Right.
just
He
crazy.
also like studied music theory, which would he used to like make him like all his albums really good.
Mhm.
His songwriting ability came from like his degree in music theory. My boy
Damn.
was
Okay, so
educated.
he knew about music theory, and you hear a lot of early Metallica. I mean, that shit sounds classical. Like I'm trying to think of the one
Yeah.
that sounds classical. What's that one that got? It's just an instrumental. What is that song? Come on, you guys know.
Orion.
Do you know which
Orion.
album it is?
Orion.
There's a few.
It's
Orion?
Orion.
That's a
You
good
hear
one.
There's two.
Orion?
There's
I thought you were gonna talk about Call of Cthulhu.
Orion.
I was thinking of Call of Cthulhu.
Call of Cthulhu. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, but
same.
everybody knows Orion. Call of Cthulhu is really good, but everybody knows Orion.
Orion
Yeah,
is
but
the
of
one.
Of the instrumentals, it's the most popular
It
one.
sounds classical. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
What's the one on Injustice for All? It's like To Live Is to Die or something.
Yeah, but that was based. There's like I think there's like few words in there. There's actually like at the middle of the song they say something.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
it's
mostly
like-
instrumental.
Well, it's
It's actually
technicality.
not a full song because it was not fully written, but they didn't want to finish it without clips, so just pushed it out as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And-
Cliff would always say to live is to die. He always said that.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Cliff.
one thing I like before I move on that, I'd be like, in the original lineup, I probably would say Cliff is my favorite.
Yeah.
And then like, I'd even make an argument like even though you don't hear the bass throughout their whole career, like it's not
Yeah.
like a defining part of the band. Like they always have a lot of energy live whenever you
Yeah.
watch a
Yeah.
live performance.
I'm about to
Whether it's
say,
like
I'm gonna
Rob,
say-
Jason, or Cliff.
Unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Y'all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
I know where you're
I
going.
prefer Jason Newsted
I knew
over
you were
Cliff.
gonna say that. Yeah.
I'd agree with it.
Well, we're
Like
gonna
on
get,
live performances
hey.
I've watched. Oh my god,
dude. And if you heard, have you ever? Well, we'll get to that when we get to Newstead. But yeah, Jason Newstead obviously was no slouch. But anyway, getting back to Cliff, his playing on Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets helped define Metallica's sound. So how many albums was he on in total? 2 or 3 or 2?
3.
He was on
He was
3.
on three.
Okay.
First three.
So his 3, help shape Metallica's sound. And we're going to go on and unfortunately, I mean, he was on 3 albums, 1983 to 1986 or not, I'm sorry, 1982 to 1986. He was only in the band 4 years. So it's hard to judge how good he would have been. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah,
so
Yeah.
we're going to go
he
on.
was already insane.
Yeah. He was insane. Yeah, he was insane. But in 1986, the bus accident in Sweden, his death devastated the band, leaving a hole that would never be filled. Burton's influence can still be felt in Metallica's music with his legacy on songs like Orion. Orion and Call of Cthulhu, like we just said. I mean, he really stands out in those tracks. But I think that changed the band. You know what I mean?
So I got a question about that.
Yeah.
A lot of people say to get famous, people have to sacrifice something.
Oh.
For instance,
But they were already famous though.
yeah. I'm just saying.
I mean,
They say
they weren't at
Dr.
the peak of
Dre
popularity.
sacrificed his son.
Yeah, I'm with Alex. I don't think they were at their peak. But were they the most famous out of the big 4? Most definitely.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
They helped bring
it wasn't
thrash
until
metal to
the
the
Black
mainstream.
Album where they. So it wasn't until the Black Album where they like world famous.
Yes.
Yeah, like, I don't know how much you guys like
It's at
look
91.
at like past concert dates, but I was like looking like just for fun. I was like if I was to see Metallica in the 80s, like what venue in Indiana would they play? And they were playing like country clubs still.
No
and
shit.
like for
Really?
the Master of Puppets tour.
Dude, but everybody in
And
the
they had
80s was
Anthrax
playing at
opening
like
for
the
'em.
fairgrounds. And you know what I mean? You could go see a concert at
Mhm.
some small venue where it was like my dad, it was either in the 80s or the 90s. He had a story about some people got together. I think Metallica was on tour with like Guns N' Roses. And it was like Lars, it was like the keyboard player, and like basically a bunch of mixed members from both the bands. They played at the Slippery Noodle downtown, actually. So,
Okay.
Lars was in there. You fucking
Yep.
saw Lars at the Slippery Noodle in the late 80s or early
Lars.
90s. So, that's just kind of how it was. People were playing smaller venues. I mean, not a lot of bands, unless you were the absolute biggest band in the world, was playing stadium tours. That was
Right.
unheard of.
Yeah, it's like your big ass bands like Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
freaking Aerosmith, and all them.
Yeah, that was the bands, like the bands that were playing in the 80s that were big were probably big in the 70s. That
Yeah,
even like probably Van Halen in the early 80s probably was, just starting to sell out arenas.
Right.
So, anyway, we're going to go on and well, we already went over the firing of Dave Mustaine.
Dave Mustaine. Watch me become a god.
Here you go.
Watch me become again.
You all seen Lane Stanley do that?
Yeah,
That
I
is-
saw that
Lane
shit.
Stanley did it so funny. Rest in peace,
Okay.
my bro.
R.I.P. Hey, let's talk about the Jason Newsted era since you're so fond of it, Jake.
Oh my god. There's a very pinpoint like where I knew I liked him more. It's the 1991 fall of what was it? Fall of USSR
Mhm.
during
Mhm.
the world's biggest concert that ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
With
1.7
AC/DC and Mötley
million.
Crue.
No,
Woodstock.
it was.
You got
It
me.
was
You got me about to
Pantera,
skip around.
AC/DC.
Hey, you got me about to skip around. We'll talk about that concert, but we're talking. Okay,
Oh no, I'm
no,
just
just
saying
talk about
this-
your
this
Jason
focal
Newsted.
point.
Yeah, talk about your Jason Newsted.
I know,
what
but he's in this part.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you were to listen to like just the vocals alone, Jason's power and his vocals is absolutely off the charts insane.
Yeah, Jason had great vocals.
Mhm.
Jason could sing just like James, really. Like I heard a clip of him singing "Seek and Destroy," and dude, I thought it was
Yeah.
James, dude.
The
it
one
was
where he's
Jason.
fucked up.
Yeah, the one where he's fucked
Oh,
up. But Jason could
That's
sing
one of my
great.
favorite videos.
Yeah, James kind of preferred him doing some of the like early Kill 'Em All tracks
Did he?
because ultimately like Jason was like their biggest fan, and that's why he got the job.
Yeah.
I will say though, when they're singing "Seek and Destroy," and James Hetfield sticks the mic in Jason's face, he just screams. He looks so pissed.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they kind of hazed, and this is kind of going into they definitely hazed him because I think they
Oh,
were still
yeah.
bitter. They're like nobody will ever be Cliff. So it could have been any bass player that came in, the best bass player in the world, and they didn't give a shit because in their eyes they thought
Yeah.
Cliff was the best, and nobody else could compare or was even good.
Well,
Between
not only
Cliff and
was
Jason.
Cliff just really good, but like he was an amazing songwriter.
Cliff. Did Cliff
Oh,
write those
Cliff- oh, yeah,
songs?
Cliff.
Did Cliff write those songs?
I think he had a huge like help in it. Like he did a lot of
like the
work.
lyrics and everything too.
Not sure about that, but like the actual songwriting itself.
That's kind of like Black Sabbath, man. Geezer Butler, the bass player, actually wrote most of the songs.
Yeah,
So,
it
shocked me one bit.
and
That dude can
Ozzy
flip
never
a
wrote
bass
anything.
guitar.
Ozzy never wrote anything. He was just a singing motherfucker. But
Yep.
but it was all Geezer.
I
Those
never
dark
see-
lyrics. Those was all Geezer Butler, man.
It was all geese.
It doesn't shock me that Ozzy Osbourne. Have you seen how fried his brain is?
They were all fried in
Love
the
him.
si- and they were
Love
all
him.
fried in the 70s though, dude. You see so many old
Oh,
clips
yeah.
and they're all stoned.
Pure cocaine, acid, you name it.
We'll
Yeah,
swing
in
it
the
back
podcast,
to.
like in this segment, it's about Jason Newsted, but I do want to at least mention this since it kind of ties in with what you were talking about. Like
Yeah.
nobody could replace Cliff. They
Yeah.
also had Les Claypool do auditions because he was close friends with Kirk Hammett
Back in the day.
in high school.
Yeah.
And they went to the same high school, had same classes, so they knew each other.
Oh, Kirk Hammett and
And-
Jason Newsted?
Yeah.
I didn't. Wait, are they? They're both from the East Coast, right? If I'm correct. Yeah, Kirk Hammett. I've heard Kirk Hammett talk. He sounds like he's from the East Coast, which Metallica's West Coast. So it's crazy they picked up two off the East Coast.
Kirk Hammett's also Filipino.
Yeah, and it was before like
he's
anybody knew
dude,
who Les Claypool was. But he, Les Just Being Les did that audition, and they told him, "Oh, you're too good for us.
You're too good."
I forgot about
so
the Les
we're
Claypool.
we're looking for other people.
Dude, he's out of this world. Les Claypool, Primus.
We'll
do a separate episode for them. But
I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, we're gonna go see him.
Yeah, nobody was gonna match Cliff, but they just had to say, "Oh, you're too good for us." To Les Claypool.
I mean, he is really good.
Absolutely. So anyway, though, getting back on track. So Newsted brought a new energy to the band, playing on albums like Justice for All, Metallica, and Load. Newsted was in the band, and the constant pressures of touring and just getting hazed and not treating. What was the album where they turned him down? What was that album?
First album with him, Injustice for All.
They turned him. Was it in the studio? They turned it down so you couldn't hear his bass, or was it like live? I think they did it to him both. I think live and in the studio.
So it was Lars that claimed it was messing with the drum sound he wanted for that album. So that's why he turned down the bass.
Lars.
And even the producer was kind of the producer was kind of like, he wanted his name off the album. I think the original guy they got.
The producer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He wanted Jason Newsted off the credits? Wait, he wanted Jason Newsted off the credits?
No. The producer wanted his own name.
Oh, because he didn't want to be associated with
he didn't like that decision.
Injustice and For All, yeah. Okay,
and
so
I can't remember if he stuck around or not, but he either left or wasn't credited.
Okay.
I'd imagine he just left.
Yeah. Okay, so anyways, the pressures of constant touring and tension within the group led to his departure in 2001. His exit left fans wondering who could possibly fill his shoes. Didn't they split up for a while after this?
James Hetfield went to rehab right after Newsted left. They thought the band was done.
Well, how long did they split up though? Because if he left in 2001,
I don't know.
When was? How long did they split up?
St. Anger
somebody look that up.
So it must have only been about 2 years.
Okay, St. Anger was 2003. So it was like 2 years until they got their next bass player. We're getting ready to talk about Robert Trujillo in 2003. Okay, so 2 years later, they took 2-year hiatus. James went to rehab. The band didn't know what was going to happen. Enter 2003, Metallica hired Trujillo, and if you've ever seen that kind of like the recruitment video of Jason Newsted, obviously he was really good. They were like, his fingers are like picks, and probably us three, I don't know, Jake, like playing with your fingers, you're not going to get the speed of a pick. That takes a lot of practice to really be able to get your fingers to play fast. But he doesn't use a pick; he plays all fingers. So
no, well, he was like a funk metal bass player, and then when he was playing with like Suicidal Tendencies, and then he went from that gig to Ozzy Osbourne, who we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
His son also played for the bassist of Korn. Fun fact.
Yeah,
he played with Korn. Yep, Korn picked him up for a little bit. While what's the guy's name? Come on, what's the bass player's name of Korn? Fieldy. While Fieldy was having a baby, Korn picked him up. Kind of the same deal. Korn picked up the bass player from. Dude, I'm blanking right now, but they're known to do that. Like if a member Mudvayne. He picked up the bass player of Mudvayne. I can't even remember his name right now. I have no idea his name is. But he's really good. Ryan
Lombardo.
Ryan Martin. Ryan Martin. He picked up Ryan Martin, and Ryan Martin, no offense, blows fucking Fieldy out of the water. Ryan Martin is one of the best metal bass players I've ever heard. But anyway, they're known to do that. You know what I mean? But getting back to Trujillo, He brought a unique style and energy to the band, known for the powerhouse performances and smooth yet heavy bass playing.
And the crab walk.
Yeah, and crab walking
That's
on
what
him.
we
Yeah.
all remember about the crab.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a good short. I'm gonna make a short of that. Trujillo's arrival marked a new era for Metallica. He made his debut on Saint Anger. Who remembers the Saint Anger snare? You remember that, Alex?
Yeah,
Have you seen that
Someone
meme
literally-
so many times?
Yep.
Someone turned the snare into a Taco Bell gong.
Yeah, I
It was
saw you
so
share.
funny.
Oof.
People
I
have
will
replaced
say,
it with so
though-
many sounds now.
I will say though, as much as that album's hated, I really love "Some Kind of Monster" as my favorite song off that album.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that song.
I'd say even like the worst Metallica albums, you can still have some pretty good songs on
Still
them.
vibe
Like
with.
"Frantic" is also a good one.
Yeah.
Frantic. Yep. Yep.
Still vibe with. Yeah. So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that Saint Anger snare. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Vinnie Paul from Pantera's 20 gauge snare. Like
Yeah.
they just really turned up the snare, and maybe he got some influence from Pantera or whatever. But yeah, that was a powerful sounding snare.
Would you say Saint
Now,
Anger
Basically,
was
why?
the
having a
shortest?
trash can.
Saint Anger is the
Yeah, literally, that
shortest
sound like
album.
it's getting trashed in.
Is Saint Anger the shortest album, Jake?
I'm pretty sure it is.
How many
By,
songs?
like,
How many
I
songs?
think a minute, like nothing crazy.
Oh, just a
You know,
minute.
like usually a
Said
band's
11
debut album
songs.
is their shortest, but like Kill 'Em All is really long. Now that we're talking about it,
Yeah, because each song like 6 minutes.
Right, shit. So Kill 'Em
Just
All.
really fast, and it's like really slow to like chill out for a second, so like caress their hands for a second, and it's real fast again.
yeah, usually the first album they're just trying to get something out, so it's usually the shortest one. But not
Yeah,
them.
for a new
Yeah.
musician's first album or whatever. And that, honestly, it's hard for a new musician because a new musician has to learn like Cliff Burton's catalog. He has to learn Newsted's catalog, and he's got to produce new songs with the band. So if a member's been replaced 2 or 3 times, like that's quite a bit of work. And I remember in the 2003, they offered him $1 million up front. They're like, "Here's how serious we are. Here's $1 million if you sign with us to be our bass player today." But
Dang.
a lot of money, and a lot of money in 2003 for sure. But man, he had a lot of work. Not that he wasn't a professional, but he had to learn all those songs. I mean, I'm sure he knew some of the songs,
Right.
you know. But yeah, he's a workhorse, Trujillo. Okay, I'll talk about some of the like trauma with some of the songs. Like I know Unforgiven. Do you know the story about Unforgiven, Jake?
The Unforgiven, yeah, it's basically like it's actually an uplifting song if you really think
Yeah.
about it, but it's like dark past, but getting out of that past.
Yeah, I dubbed
In
the
a nutshell.
Unforgiven. It was about James's mom, or we'll start with his dad. His dad left him when he was like super young, and then his mom died of cancer when he was 16 or 17. So he had a lot of like hatred for like he felt abandoned. You
That's
know what I
tough.
mean? And dubbed the Unforgiven is I think kind of about his dad. Like he was like, I can't forgive you, so eventually I'm going to dub you, you know, the Unforgiven. He's trying to get away from that. And other songs too, like Nothing Else Matters.
Say- Ooh, let me go before you go any
No,
further.
go ahead.
In that same album is the song "The God Who Failed." It's
Mhm.
talking about his mom, how she was like super religious and wouldn't take medicine for her cancer because it was treatable. Because
Yeah,
she
they
believed
could have
that prayer
easily
was the
treated
answer.
it, but she was religious, so
She-
she
Mhm.
believed that, you know, if she didn't take this, God was going to heal her alone. So
Right.
she didn't take the medicine.
And so James Hetfield blamed her religion for it.
Yeah.
And
That
so
was-
wrote the
yeah.
song "Follow the God Who Failed."
Yeah.
And Mama Said. That's in a later album.
What were you gonna say,
And
Alex?
again, this is an episode about Metallica, but you could say the same exact thing for like Maynard James Keenan. He has multiple songs about
yeah,
that same
Judith.
concept.
Yep.
Yeah.
Judith. He literally says "fuck your God" in that song, bro. He had a lot of
Man.
anger towards that.
A
Yeah.
lot.
Judith was his mom's name. But yeah. So going back to it is one I have here, just trauma and personal experiences and strained relationship with his father. Hetfield struggled with addiction, alcoholism.
Ooh. Also, later, this is like maybe 10 years ago or 7 or 8 years ago. James did reconnect with his dad.
Oh, he did. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he reconnected with his dad. And he actually forgave him.
Oh, wow.
Hey, yo, James.
Of course,
give
his
me a
dad is
small
now
loan.
dead, but
But he got to do that before he died. Yeah,
his dad did die. But
that's
he
powerful right there.
did rekindle with him.
That's powerful right there. But Saint Anger, it comes from a raw place of conflict, a powerful record that explored anger and frustration. I haven't delved too deep into that one, but another song, One, talking about, what is that about, veterans, or talking about a veteran coming back from the war.
A guy who lost all four
Yeah.
of his limbs,
Yeah.
blind and deaf.
Blind and
To a
deaf,
landmine.
lost all 4 of his
All
limbs,
limbs.
bro, in war.
Like, at
You just
that
have to watch the
point,
music video.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at that point, just put me out of my misery. I'm sorry. Like, what are you going to do in 1913?
This is about a World War
14,
One
sorry.
veteran? A World War
Yeah.
II veteran?
I'm pretty sure it's World War One. I could be wrong.
Oh, World War One.
Darkness
All
has
right.
taken my mind, taken my sight.
But yeah, like I think about that. You know how hell that would be? Like what? Like you can't hear, you can't see, you can't move.
So what
Yeah.
happened to the guy? He just got fucking shelled and lost all 4 of his limbs, couldn't hear or see? Like turned him into Helen
Yeah, I guess
Keller? What?
Well,
a crippled
if-
Helen Keller, if
it-
that's even possible.
A quadriplegic Helen Keller. Jesus Christ. Yo.
Dang.
Like I said, at that point, just put 2 in the back of my head and make sure
That's
I'm down.
crazy.
Oh, fuck.
That's worse
Ooh.
than like something like in Fallout.
How do you even think about that shit, dude? They harness some dark energy, Metallica. I'm telling you, man. They have to, man. Who sits in a room and thinks about that shit? Is that based off a true story? Like what?
I don't know.
I don't know what happened to him. All I know is in the music video, they had to hire some like psychic reader. And they're
Yeah.
like, what's he saying? It's just like, Kill me.
SOS, help.
Shit.
so
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, so we're gonna go
I
over.
mean, what else would you do?
We're gonna go over some of the awards that they've won throughout their. Can you get me another one, Johnny? Thank you. You want a beer, buff?
Hey, guys, can I get one?
Yeah, here you go,
would be
bro.
nice.
Dude, I would
Thanks.
cry
Pull it
if dude, I would cry if I handed him a beer through the screen and he fucking pulls out a beer like this. That would be
I
crazy.
wish I had one. That'd be so funny.
We're gonna talk about the awards and like recognitions. So like throughout their career, Metallica has racked up an impressive collection of awards and accolades. They've won multiple Grammy Awards, including Best Metal Performance for Saint Anger and My Apocalypse. And Alex, tell us a story.
Oh,
Tell
well,
a story.
probably
Just
I just hear about it at least like once a year. People talk about like one of the biggest upsets ever is 1989 for like best hard rock and metal performance, and Jethro Tull won that over Metallica's Injustice for All with their album Crest of a
Huge
Knave,
upsets.
which
Oh shit.
Which is absolutely crazy.
I like Jethro Tull, but I'm not as much as Metallica. And Justice for All is one of the best metal albums ever.
I like
Yep.
Jethro Tull, but to win that album is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jethro Tull I've never known to make that heavy of music. I mean, maybe I'm missing out on something on one of their later
Well,
albums. Fans
guess
put me on
It's
if I
because
don't
they
know.
Yeah, it's back in the day. I mean, it's like what we were talking about in the very beginning with that heavy metal question. They did count as a hard rock band,
Right,
Yep.
and it was tied into hard rock and metal.
right. Holy
Interesting.
shit. Yeah, I'm with you, Alex. That's crazy, man. That's crazy that they won
And
that
Jethro
award.
Tull, like,
Jethro
I
Tull
guess
plays the
because
fucking
hard rock,
flute, bro.
they've got
Hey,
some
you want to
heavy
know
riffs,
another fun fact about
like,
Jethro Tull?
yeah, it's a flute. It's a folk rock band.
You know, another fact about Jethro Tull is that Tony Iommi played for Jethro Tull for a little bit before he
Yep.
played for Sabbath in the late 60s.
For like, and maybe a year or less, he played
dude,
for him.
we don't talk enough about Tony Iommi being like a for real. He was like a session musician, bro. Going
Tony had
from
that in
that
him.
to Black Sabbath to cutting his fingers,
Cutting off his fingers.
cutting off his fingers and make the heaviest sound ever. What?
Yeah, he cut his fingers.
Yep.
It was his last day at the job too, as it makes it so much worse.
Yeah, he told his mom too. He was like, "I'm done," and she's like, "Well, just be a good boy and finish up your shift." And
Right.
you know, he finished up his shift and cut his fingers off, and he had to look up players like Django Reinhardt, who actually he got his fingers got burned up in a fire, so he used these thimbles. So Tony Iommi took them thimbles, used those thimbles, and created a whole new sound. But getting back to the things,
Awards.
awards. The Black Album has sold over 16 million copies in the U.S., making it one of the best-selling albums of all time. And this is when people, you know, in the 90s, everybody used to buy CDs. There was no Spotify, music sharing, getting stuff for free. It was you pay the artist and
you get the product.
You get the product. So they were making, not only were they making, you know, all their sales off tickets, but also off the music too, which leads me to believe maybe because they don't make the money off the music much anymore, that why all ticket prices have gone up. You know, you have to pay $300 or $400. Maybe it makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A band makes a living off touring more than album sales nowadays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Has to.
Yeah. So, anyways, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in 2009.
With Ozzy Osbourne.
Did Ozzy Osbourne induct them, or how did that go?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
That's
I'm pretty sure
badass.
the Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
And then Ozzy just got inducted himself this past year.
He did.
Wow. Okay.
Took long enough.
So I mean, they were ahead of the curve, 15 years before him. I mean, Black Sabbath, I think they were like 2006. So they're like, you got Black Sabbath. You don't
It
need
took
both.
Ozzy Osbourne. Jack Black brought Ozzy Osbourne out, but so
for last year.
Yeah, so 2009, you know, they got what they wanted to. And then Metallica today, you know, they're still metal community, probably the most popular metal band in the world, I would say.
Yep.
Top 3 for sure.
Most profitable too.
Most profitable. I mean, what were you saying? What were you saying, Alex?
I pretty much every year I kind of bring this up is like for a Super Bowl and the halftime show, we're constantly just getting pop rock, like pop music and
Hey, give us some rock music. Give us some metal
every
music,
year,
man. Come
and
on.
we're like, if we can get a rock or metal artist, like who would it be? And like Metallica is like the only one I can think of. And I mean,
they are. The next Super Bowl is in San Francisco, where Metallica's from.
So there's a lot of rumors about
if
that
they
right now.
didn't get that, that's cheating them. That's kind of
And
like
I'm like,
this year. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the only other rock band that I think could do it is Foo Fighters, and they're kind of having some bad rep right now.
Honestly, I think Creed,
Yeah,
Creed
with-
is very
with
close.
Leatherface.
Creed is actually in
Creed
the
would do it.
selection
Yeah,
for next
Creed.
year. But it's what I was gonna say is this year is like this is kind of unrelated a little bit, but like how they should have had Lil Wayne, because Lil Wayne is actually from Louisiana, and I like Lil Wayne a lot more than I like Kendrick. I mean, Kendrick's blown up now, and he's all right, but dude, they should have got Lil Weezy in there for the Super Bowl. That doesn't make no sense.
How is Lil Weezy from Louisiana, but a Packers fan?
You get Chili Peppers too.
I don't know if he moved over there or what. But okay, this is kind of wrapping some stuff up here. The loss of Cliff Burton to the highs of international fame. Metallica's story is one of restless evolution and raw emotion. But anyway, the audience, like, what's your favorite Metallica song? Everybody knows a Metallica song. Let us know in the comments below.
For sure.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history, be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future content.
Yep.
Until next time,
Triple Shot Trio.
let's get it. Triple Shot Trio.
We'll see.
And anybody got anything else?
All I'm saying is Metallica is your favorite band.
Favorites band, yes. And Alex, anything?
No, not really.
All right, then.
All
Till next
right.
time.
Peace out.